Usts.
Live is just
Prize,
evil
prize.
spelled backwards.
We're talking prizes.
Did you just say that live is evil spelled backwards?
It is.
So our show is backwards and evil?
Yeah, you know. Subaru spelled backwards is you are a bus, so I don't really know what it means.
Oh, I thought it was a palindrome.
Hmm.
Oh, wait a minute. No, the palindrome of Bolton is Ipswich.
Hmm. The first palindrome ever spoken? Madam, I'm Adam.
Nice.
Don't forget, a Toyota is a Toyota.
That's right. Race fast, safe car.
All right.
Bob.
Man.
We've got a script. We've got liveness.
Aliveness.
We have aliveness on the Hangout on Air.
So
We've
is
got-
O Mensahib Bart Rabbi has memo.
Go hang a salami.
So does a palindrome. Wouldn't that be something? That's going to take more creative writing than I have.
There you go.
To do what?
Make the entire episode.
Oh, yeah. Well, we could just do a really, really short episode.
Okay, Bob.
Done. All right.
Okay, let's do this. I'm going to play some music. Which
Okay.
end to kick us off?
Okay.
I'm going to actually, pretend to hit record. Wait. I was overly ready. I'm going to hit record. And here we go.
Welcome to Caching in the Northwest, the only podcast dedicated to geocaching in the great Pacific Northwest. Tonight we'll talk about caches and caches unique to this little corner of the country, so lace up those hiking boots and grab extra water. It's time to go caching in the Northwest.
It certainly is. Thank you for joining us tonight. And we can't talk about a massive hike up a mountain unless we bring in our mountain hopping monkey friend. Some say he's the Canadian who went up a hill and came down a mountain, and others say the Sherpas call on his people to carry their stuff. All we know is he's called Land Monkey.
He sure is. Hey, guys, I have to say that each week I'm just flummoxed by all you know. And listeners and viewers, I want to say hello and thank you all for joining us once again on Caching in the Northwest. And hey, if this is your very first time joining us, thanks for checking us out.
And that's a possibility because we were recently all together in person and in unison at the Geocaching Block Party 2015 there in Fremont. And there were a whole bunch of people that came by and said, "Oh, I've watched you guys." And there was a whole bunch of people that came by and said, "What's a podcast?" But they said that they would check us out. So if that's you, I want to extend a very extra special welcome to you. And give us your feedback. Tell us what you think of our humble little podcast. Give us a call to 53693-TFTC. Let us know.
That's right, and welcome for the returning listeners. We already have a bunch of chatter there in the Q&A, so if you're watching through Google+, click on the Q&A link, put in some thoughts, +1 other thoughts. You just never know what's going to happen. But we like hearing from you about your favorite caches in your favorite caching locations right here in the Northwest. So each week we play a little bit of your favorite podcast in your voice. Now, you can use the voicemail too on the website to send us your favorite cache, and we will play it on the podcast soon. Your message needs to be just about 15 seconds long. That's enough time to say your geocaching name, the GC code, the name of the cache, and why you liked it. Now, this week, we have our good friend, Air Rooster. And let me play a little bit of his.
Hi, this is Air Rooster from Spokane, Washington, and I am calling in my new favorite Northwest cache. It is part of the Spokane History Geo Tour. It is DC 5DA. Doctor Who in the Cave.
All right.
There you have it.
And Air Rooster, he's one of the people that came by the block party and said hi. And while he may not have been a new listener this week, I got to meet him for the first time at the block party, so that was pretty awesome.
That is pretty awesome. And Mrs. Land Monkey and I did that cache that he's talking about, and it is also pretty awesome.
Nice. As I would expect. It's part of the Spokane Geo Tour.
There you have it.
So, if you have been out and not been able to find a cache lately, you know, we're always looking for excuses. At least I am. It may not be your fault. Here's a great excuse to throw out there, and it's a legitimate one. There have been a lot of solar storms and solar activity lately, technically in Sun's region 2403, but who's counting? And they're creating, well, difficulties, challenges, problems with GPS satellites for about the next week or so. On the upside, however, there are some beautiful auroras, and you may be able to catch glimpses of them from even as far south in the Northwest as Washington State, BC, Idaho, all those places. So, ups and downs. You may not find a cache, but you have a great thing to look at.
Exactly. If you're a photographer, you're going to want to get out and see if you can capture any of these auroras. They have been spectacular in the last couple of months.
That's cool.
Now, you may know that the GIF, or the Geocaching International Film Festival, is GIF, right? Not GIF?
Well, I always say GIF, but you know, this goes back to the whole photo image format argument as well, and then you can extend that to Linux and Linux, and yeah. Anyways,
use GIF.
We know what you're talking about.
Let's go with GIF. Why not? Geocaching GIF. I don't know. I haven't figured this one out yet. Anyway, the Geocaching International Film Festival, there's no initials there, was rained out the day before the block party. And, you know, that was sad, but if you've been here in the Seattle area, we needed that rain. I was thankful that it rained. But don't fret. The GIF or GIF weekend is your chance to catch the entire reel of the 16 finalist films from the 2015 Geocaching International Film Festival. On the weekend of November 5th through 8th only, there's a key there, geocachers will host geocaching events at which these films will be shown publicly for their first time. So pop your popcorn, get out your coziest blanket, and get ready. You may even want to grab an umbrella for a global geocaching movie night. Now, for more information on how to host a GIF weekend,
A GIF.
GIF weekend, we're going to put a link on the show notes. Just head over to the geocaching.com/blog. You'll see it there. I'm certain that local geocaching groups in the Northwest will have many GIF or GIF weekends.
Yeah. Absolutely. Wits End, you look like you want to say something.
Oh, I'm hoping that they do, and I'm hoping that they let us know about it here on the podcast so we can invite people and maybe we can attend one.
That would be awesome.
Maybe
I would totally agree with that. And I can attest to the fact that there's already planning underway in the Southwest BC region to host local cachers for the November GIF weekend. and that's what I'm going to call it from now on.
The GIF.
It's GIF. And yeah, if you're planning one and you're listening to this podcast and either this is the first time you've heard about the possibility that you can actually host your own GIF in your backyard or in your house or in a library, or, you know what would be really cool is if somebody actually was able to rent a movie theater on one of those evenings or days on that weekend. And that would be so wicked cool.
This town we can rent.
But if you're going to do any of those things, let us know. We will plug that for you because we think that's totally cool.
For the GIF weekend?
GIF weekend, yeah.
Yeah. And if you happen to own a movie theater here in the Northwest in the GIF weekend, no, I'm just stop that right now.
It's not GNU anymore.
No. GNU's not GNU. GNU's not Unix. Let's shift gears, shall we, and talk about something else in the news world of geocaching. And on that subject, we want to let you know there is another brick-and-mortar geocaching store that you need to visit should you find yourself, on Vancouver Island, part of the Northwest. They were a sponsor of the hashtag Geocache Road Trip Contest and friends of the show, Land Sharks. No Candygram. Land Sharks. They've opened a geocaching store in Victoria, BC. That's only a short ferry ride from Seattle, folks, and I think there's a ferry there from the BC mainland as well. It's either Tawasin or Sawasin or one of those things that I always get wrong.
Well, that's like Gajif. It's Tasawasin.
So check it out. The address will be in the show notes. It's on Esquimalt Road in Victoria, BC. And I love the postal codes of V9A3P2 because all we get down here are numbers. And you can find out a whole lot more at landsharks.ca, landsharkz.ca.
Nicely done.
Gentlemen, cast your minds back for a moment with me. We go back in the Wayback Machine to the block party. Do you remember when 4 podcasters got together and came up with a harebrained idea?
I do.
In which you, our listeners, can win some fabulous prizes. Listeners, make sure
recall this. Tell us more.
Okay. Make sure you listen to this week's episode of Podcacher, Land Monkeys Geocaching Adventure, Geo Gearheads, and Caching in the Northwest, because if you're listening to this now, you're actually listening to the episode. Who knew? And to find out what iconic Fremont, Washington landmark each host found to be the most interesting. Title and email Fremont Landmarks, and in the body write all 4 landmarks and who chose it. Address that whole email to feedback@cachingnw.com and have it in by midnight, that's PST, on September 6th, 2015. Now, in order to get this done, we need to listen to Sunny and Sandy's bit from the Podcaster Podcast.
Hey, this is Sunny
And Sandy.
from the Podcaster Podcast, and we just recently returned from our trip to Washington State, where we visited Seattle.
Mm-hmm. And we attended the final block party.
The final block party.
Held in Fremont, which is a really interesting place.
It is. It's an interesting place, very eclectic, with lots of creativity there. And one thing I remember seeing there that I enjoyed seeing was a rocket ship.
That's right on the side of a building.
Right on the side of the building. The thing had like lights on it. It was very colorful. It's huge. And there was even this little information sign on the sidewalk that gave all sorts of information about this rocket ship that I found interesting and liked. A rocket ship, rocket ship, rocket ship, rocket ship.
So let me guess, you like a rocket ship?
I like the rocket ship. Hey, and for more information about our trip to Seattle, go check out one of our recent shows at podcacher.com, and you'll hear more stories from Seattle and our trip to Fremont, where we saw that cool rocket ship.
All right, that was subtle.
So I wonder what we're supposed to take out of that audio.
Yeah,
What
I
we're
don't
supposed
know.
to take away from that.
He did drop it in there quickly if you were listening closely.
Mm.
Have to listen closely.
Some
Yeah,
sort
yeah.
of iconic Fremont thing.
Yeah.
That Sonny liked. Well, I don't know. I guess I won't win the contest.
Oh, well, I don't think you can qualify anyway.
I'm overqualified.
Oh, that's it. Yes, that's what we say.
That's very
That's-
nice, Land Monkey.
Yeah, that's it. Uh-huh.
All right. Hey, well, folks, there is yet more winning going on. And
More?
I don't mean like Charlie Sheen. I mean, there is another contest. Hashtag Charlie winning. There is another contest we want to give you notice of, and that is time is running out on that one, but it's still going on, and that is the Open Caching North America 5th anniversary contest, which is running this month of August. So if it's still August when you're listening to this podcast, you can still win. If it's not August and you're listening to this podcast, you are
Hosed.
hosed. Thank you. I was waiting for that.
Oh, sorry.
I learned that when I went up north.
I didn't have my northern thinking cap on.
That's awesome. So, hey, there is still time right now, today, to find or place an Open Caching North America cache sometime in the month of August 2015 to win great prizes. Details are on the Open Caching North America blog at blog.opencaching.us or blog.opencaching.ca, I think works, but definitely the US one works.
Cool.
Cool. Now, last week we gave away some very limited edition Cache Crate travel bugs to randomly selected live listeners who got their emails to us before the end of the show. Mm-hmm. So, our winners were Hubadub7, Doramore, Brylang, and Die Monkey. So arrangements have been made to distribute those prizes either by mail or by hand. However,
carrier pigeon?
Could
yes.
Be. Hmm. So
what about African swallow?
And laden or unladen? Well, it'll be both.
Yeah.
Now, what's your favorite color?
Blue. No, green. Never mind.
So we also announced the winners of our amazing, are we ready, boys?
Yes.
Hashtag Geocache Road Trip contest, and have distributed some of the prizes. But winners, we're still waiting to hear from many of you to collect your prizes.
That's right. You know, we still have unclaimed items in our prize vault, and we want you to have this cool stuff. So, Land Monkey is doing what Land Monkey does, and he's helping us out. He is posting a list on his website of people who have yet to contact us and select their prize. So, Land Monkey, what should these winners do?
Well, you know, I like to think that everyone's a winner, but for the contest there is a slightly shorter list, but it's still a pretty lengthy list of everybody who won, either actually won a category or was an honorable mention. So we've got, I think there's about 10 or 11 winners overall, which is pretty awesome out of that contest, and there's prizes. So guys, listeners, check out landmonkey.blogspot.ca to see if your name is on the list that's on there. If your name is on the list and you didn't already pick up a prize from us at the block party, then look at the list of prizes that we have remaining available and email us at geocachingroadtripcontest@gmail.com. That's the same email address you used to submit your photo to the contest. Tell us your first and second choice of prizes because, you know, two people might want the same thing and we'll figure it out. Prizes will be rewarded on a first-come, first-served basis, and if neither of your choices is still available, I'll contact you and we'll sort it out. We'll make sure you get something cool. Now, all of that info will be in a blog posting on my site, so head over there and check it out. It'll be posted after this show. So if you're listening to the audio and you're not watching live, it'll be up already. If you're watching live, please be patient because we needed to do this show first.
Yeah. Certainly. And so, Land Monkey, thank you for your help. Now, let's get those prizes given away. Listeners, last week we talked about our fun adventures at the geocaching block party.
We did.
And the next day...
Well, next day we have to think our politicking caps on and go back. Not quite as far as the block party, but almost. We got up at, we got up, the Bad Cap and I got up way, way early.
Too early.
Drove up north to meet the Land Monkeys platoon or brigade or whatever a gaggle of Land Monkeys is called. Yes. The Bad Cop and I drove up to Icicle and met up with them and headed up the mountain.
Okay, you can't just do that and not explain why you just did that because it was too funny. That was our running gag. Probably, now granted we were all tired, but that kept us entertained for quite a while.
And we've entertained other people after that day, I'll have to tell you, and shared that with more people. The backstory is that the Land Monkeys were staying in a hotel in a city called Issaquah. If you're not familiar with the NorthWest names, there's a lot of American Indian names, Native American names, and the city is called Issaquah. And when I pulled up my Android phone and told it to asked Google Maps to navigate, it said navigating to Issaquah. But the Bad Cop has an iPhone, and he punched his button and asked Siri to navigate to the motel in Issaquah. And she said, navigating to Icicle. And it cracked us up. And so if you have an iPhone, ask Siri to navigate to the motel in Issaquah, Washington, and see how she pronounces it.
Yeah, ask her anything about Issaquah, I guess.
Yeah. You were supposed to inhale at the end of Issaquah.
Yes.
Yeah, but it's hilarious. And I've told people that apparently they've been pronouncing it wrong all these years. Let me show you the proper way.
Gary would know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that just popped in my head, that wonderful memory. And we had more wonderful memories with the Land Monkeys heading up to GCD.
That's right. Play a little audio that I recorded when I was there.
Hear that sound? That's the sound of GCD, cache hidden June 21st in the year 2000. This cache represents 15 years of geocaching. It's quite a hike to get here, not going to lie. It's uphill. What did they say? 1,600-foot elevation gain from the trailhead. But, you know, it's a beautiful day. The sun's out. It's cool. It's not too hot. And there are probably 75 geocachers in this trail system hitting all the geocaches in this area. It's a great day. You know, finding a cache that's 15 years old is really quite a milestone. So, GCD, if you have a chance, go do it.
So there you have it. You know, I read in a Facebook post, I believe, it has taken 15 years to get 1,000 names on the GCD log.
Oh, it hit it. Oh, that was loud. It hit 1,000.
Yes, it hit 1,000.
Wow, that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
It's like a milestone for a cache.
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Instead of a cache for a milestone.
So
It was a very memorable day.
It was. That was great. And, you know, talking about the hike up, I think this is one of those things where it really depends on how many uphill hikes you do. I think, you know, varying levels of fitness and you know, trying to not be mean to anybody.
I can take it.
Mrs. Monkey and I do a lot of really steep uphill hikes, just mostly because of where we live here. And we thought, you know, honestly, from all the buildup, that hike was not as bad as we had heard it was. But if you are not used to doing an incline like that, it is uphill all the way. So, you know, I'll give you that. There's really very little level on that trail.
And you're starting at a few thousand feet of altitude, which
Yes.
also adds some difficulty to it.
That is a good point. But yeah, I think.
and we're old and decrepit.
Well, there's that too. So I'm sure anybody from Denver would just be able to race up there, but
Exactly.
That's funny. Well,
I'm not
I went on a slight detour once we were up at the top and took some cachers from California over to the summit of Mount Margaret, and they were getting a little winded as well. And I get that, right? I mean, it's if you're not used to exactly as you guys said, you know, the altitude and then hoofing the climb as well.
Yeah. Well, and you know, on a somber note, very seriously, a cacher a year ago did have a heart attack on the trail up there, and he was in relatively good shape from what I've heard, and sitting up there now.
Yeah,
maybe
now
he
that
had a heart attack in ground level. I'm not saying the climb did it to him, but
right.
you know, it's a significant climb.
It is definitely, and I'm in no way trying to say that it isn't. I mean, it is a pretty decent climb, but I think it's one of those things where, you know, it's like terrain ratings, right?
Yeah.
They're generally objective, but you know, somewhat subjective at the same time.
Yeah.
But it was fun, and I really had a great time.
I think that only had a trail or a terrain rating of 3.
Hmm.
So, you know, I mean, the cache itself was relatively flat when you got up 1,600 feet.
Yeah.
So,
As long
And
as
there
you
was-
stay on the trail.
Yeah, there's a gorgeous view up there. Just there was a point in there that I got separated from the rest of the group. I was all by my lonesome, and I looked out at the view, and I just kind of stopped and took it all in and realized that it was absolutely completely silent, which was just very rare in this day and age, because even on the way up the trail, we had stopped at several viewpoints and looked out and commented on how, gee, I love the view, but you can still hear the roar of the interstate down in the valley. But the cache is way up near the peak, and when you just step over that ridge and look out at the valley on the other side, it was peaceful and serene and quiet and tranquil, and lots of other really cool words.
Now, guys, can you remind me the mountains you're looking at? Is that Mount Rainier?
You can definitely
It's not
see
right to the south.
on the way up. Of course, once you cross the ridge, you're not looking toward Rainier anymore.
Yeah, Mount Rainier to the south, 14,410 feet is the tallest peak in the lower 48.
Nicely done.
Wow, impressive.
Well, it is the mountain that I can see from the end of my street that is going to bury me in pyroclastic flows sometimes when it erupts soon. So I might as well know how tall it is now, because
That would be useful trivia when you're buried under pyroclastic flow. Okay.
exactly, yeah.
Hey, in the Q&A, we do have Three Hams and a Rose confirming that Siri did indeed gasp when she pronounced Issaquah, and he found that.
Icicle.
Issaquah.
She almost says isocore. It's kind of funny. Isocore.
I'm going to quickly address a few other things we've got in the Q&A here before we pick up. If people who are used to the bad cop being in control, somehow the land monkey wrested control from the bad cops. So
very scary thing.
We've got Wet Coaster making reference to something from the Lego movie. I'm sure there's a context there.
That was for Sunny and Sandy's thing, I think. No, maybe not. No, maybe not.
That could be. Bry Lang says, with respect to the mountains that you can see from GCD, he says you can also see Mount Adams from up there, which is pretty cool. I'm not sure which one that would be.
Well, that would be Mount Adams and not Mount Rainier.
Okay, that's helpful. Thank you. Bry Lang also adds into the discussion about what's going to destroy Tacoma. It is in danger from lahars, not pyroclastic flows.
Yeah.
So little earth caching information for you if you.
Land Monkey, do you want to describe what a lahar is?
You know what? I can't remember off the top of my head.
It's a mud flow.
The mud flow.
Yeah. I don't know why they don't call it a mud flow. They call it a lahar because, well, that sounds much more scientific.
There you go. And we also, what else have we got in here? A group of monkeys is a troop, not in my vehicle.
You should get a trooper. Then you could have monkeys in your trooper.
There you go. Three Hams and a Rose is talking about much earlier in the show, Air Rooster's favorite cache. He said that was a great cache, much like the Golgafrinchian phone sanitizers cache at the Geocaching HQ Geo Tour. So yes, I would agree with that.
Yes.
Similar in concept and very well done. What else do we have here?
Saying that Mount Whitney is a bit taller than Rainier.
That's what he said there, yeah. So
thank you, Ham.
I was going with what I had been told, and I didn't verify that. So twice on the show I have been corrected. I stand corrected.
Next, you're actually sitting.
Actually, I'm standing.
Oh. This is sitting, this is standing.
The bar stool's here.
There you go.
I found that my fanny could not stand an entire podcast, so I stand for them now.
I have sat on that bar stool for an episode, and I would agree with you.
There you go. And last but not least, Three Hams and a Rose also commenting on Sunny and Sandy's audio, noting that there is a traditional cache right at that same corner, which indeed there is. There's a Geocaching HQ Geo Tour Multi that takes you there, and the Fremont Where I Go all make use of that location. So no wonder Sunny chose that one. That's very good. There's so many cool spots.
That location, which I've seemed to have forgotten. Anyway, let's go on.
We'll have to listen to the podcast later.
Again, that's right.
All right.
While we were up at GCD, we
Yes.
to some listeners of the show. And that may surprise you that they listen to the show. You know what?
I'm surprised anybody listens to the show.
That's really a good point. I'm going to go ahead and play the interview.
Aloha from Hawaii from
122, Unamaga.
and Mental Bill. This is our first and apparently only trip to the block party. A mega event, first mega event and block party.
Nice.
We're up here hiking to GCD, the oldest cache in Washington, because we are forced to do it because of a thing called Jasmer. I don't know if anyone's ever heard of it, but Jasmer, it's a little rough. It's a little rough.
It can be. Those older caches are not put in lampposts in a parking lot. They stuck them out in the mountains.
Yeah, I'm not sure why that is. I mean, there's nothing really to see up here. You know, if they cleared out all these trees and they could put a parking lot, and it would be awesome. Maybe a elevator up here.
Now, is this hike up here similar to what you have in Hawaii?
No.
We don't consider this a hike. What we went down there, that's a hike for us.
Okay.
Yeah.
Only
When you say down there, you went to
between
Living
on the edge cache.
Yeah.
between GCD and Living on the Edge. That's a hike. The rest of it is a long walk.
Yeah.
A long walk in the woods.
Okay.
We're used to much hotter, much more humid, and much steeper.
Right.
And we love it.
Because this is audio, people can't see that you're actually dressed in parkas with gloves and no. Now,
I have 3 shirts on and a jacket, and I'm cold.
that's what happens to the thin Hawaiian blood here in the Northwest.
Yes, we're caching in the Northwest.
Yes,
Exactly.
we are.
Oh my goodness, that would be a good podcast to listen to.
I like you. Great. You enjoyed the block party yesterday?
Yes, a little overwhelming.
Okay.
We had some friends that have been here many times before, so luckily they were able to give us some hints and pointers before and during. I actually had a pre-block party event at home so that we could all meet up together and talk over some things to do and plan. The lackeys were great. Loved meeting the ones that, Annie loved. Meeting the ones that we had only talked to and emailed. Meeting people in person is pretty awesome.
Isn't it, though?
Yeah.
Well, great. I wish you luck on the hike back down.
Yeah, down is easy.
Down is the easy
Yes.
part. And thank you for caching in the
All right.
Northwest. Gotta
That
like.
is- Oh, go ahead.
Oh, see, you gotta like those people.
Yeah.
You do. Great audio, and I have to say that I now have a new favorite geocaching name, and it's Mental Bill. That is just so awesome.
That's a good name.
Little Bill. Yeah. So, GCD, a classic cache. You know, it's a classic cache. I think that's what I said. It's really worth going up there for. Just, again, if you're into Jasmer, which I found I'm only 13 caches away from completing my Jasmer challenge.
There you go.
You got to do it for that reason. Though I hear there's other caches that aren't quite the hike that still here in the Northwest area that you can get that particular month in. So there you have it.
Yeah, but then you miss out on the view.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It is a memorable cache for a great number of reasons. And I know it seems obvious to us and obvious to probably most people listening, but just to clarify, GCD is not the name of the cache. That's actually the geocaching code. When you look up a geocache and it's got code GC, 9864BZX, this one is so old it's just GCD, and the name of it is geocache. It's that simple.
That's right. When you're talking I consider it a single letter or single digit cache. GC is added to everyone, so it's a single digit cache, referring to obviously one of the first 36 caches placed, right?
That would mathematically
doing my math right. So
well,
go ahead.
not only that, but if I'm not mistaken, those don't necessarily go in that order, right? Like the numbers and letters were semi-randomly assigned. Is that not correct?
I've heard something along those lines, yes.
From what I remember, Jeremy, when he did the original database, didn't put the caches in order that they were placed. He just entered them. So the oldest one, Mingo, is GC39.
Got it. Okay.
So I don't know in what order he placed, but GCD, come on, single letter, single cache.
It was fun.
So
The fact that it's still active is amazing.
yeah, that is absolutely, and that's cool and great hike, great view, and neat being up there with so many other people, and they were all really cool people. So that was awesome.
I estimated. I estimated there were 75 people on the road. That's because there had to be 50 cars.
Yeah.
Damn. Some of them, it looked like they were going to need a tow truck to get out, how far off the road they had to park. And these are Forest Service roads, guys. These are no bigger than alleys. And there probably was more like 100 people up there. But, you've got so much space to spread out, you really didn't run into gangs of people.
No, it was pretty good, considering how many cars we saw and I'm going to say the parking lot, but it was the parking lot was full, and it's not a big parking lot, it's just a parking area. Lot is kind of a strange term to use. But then wrapping all the way back down the FSR almost to the spur was just a solid line of cars by the time we came back down. So yeah, to see that many cars there and that you weren't really just all sort of stacked up like cordwood on the trail was pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm. So we hit the trail at about 6:30 and came back down around 10 o'clock.
Then what did we do?
And then we found GCD and several other caches on the way down, but we weren't done.
But wait, there's more?
There's more. Wits End, what else did we do?
Well, we went over to the ape event, which is just the other side of the lake from the trailhead up to GCD. And how often do you get to pose with an ape and sign the sandwich board that he's wearing?
I don't know if I've ever seen an ape with a sandwich board other than
the ape event.
The ape event, yeah.
And rumor has it, pretty good authority, that the person wearing the ape just might listen to this podcast. So
that's right.
Yeah.
And perhaps he should roll over in his tanning bed. I'm just
if he hasn't by now, he's going to need a bigger sandwich board.
Burned to a crisp. We're too long for the podcast.
Didn't do the actual tunnel near the ape event because we've done it before. But we did attend the ape event and run into some great people and have some nice time chatting and gave Donners a chance to find more collectible codes from vehicles in the parking lot.
Got discovered a whole bunch more.
That's right. And then what did we do?
Well, then we all piled back into the Land Monkey vehicle of mass destruction and headed a little further down around the side of the lake and followed our GPS instructions and drove down the boat ramp and proceeded to drive across the lake about halfway across.
Those crazy Canadians can follow a GPS anywhere.
That's right.
Yeah, we got about halfway across the lake before we hit bottom.
That's right. So we went after a cache called Keishaless Crossing 2. And the cool thing about that cache is that it's on an island, which is very cool. But even cooler is that this time of the year, by the end of August, that lake the water level's gone down far enough that all you actually have to do, you can drive most of the way to the cache, and then all you really have to cross is a creek. It's not even a river, a creek, and then you're walking up the side of the island. It's kind of neat. It's almost moonscape-ish.
Yeah.
Now, Land Monkey, I have to correct you. It's not normally by this time. We have been so dry here in the Northwest that that lake has been created by a dam. It's actually a reservoir for the city of Tacoma, and there's not been enough rain or snow melt to keep that lake full. So normally by end of September, beginning of October, it's dry.
Oh, okay.
Water has been used up. So it's very early this year.
So this was it's not good that the water reservoir is that low, but from a geocaching perspective, the fact that it was low enough to do that at the time of the Going Ape event was fortuitous.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
for geocachers.
And now we chose this cache not just because we could drive to it. There was another reason. What was that, Witzend?
Well, there was this souvenir thing that's going on this summer. And, well, people want to collect them. This souvenir had to do with finding a 5 that's either a terrain 5 or a difficulty 5 cache. And ordinarily, this is a terrain 5 cache, because unless you've got a land monkey willing to drive his car into the lake, you got to use a boat or something. And there's a comment in the Q&A there that Wet Coaster says, to be fair to land monkey, with the water restrictions in Canada, they aren't allowed to wash their cars. So it's not too surprising that he'd drive his car into a lake. But we got our souvenir for having a terrain 5 cache that we could walk to.
That was pretty cool.
That was cool. Yeah. I believe it was Wet Coaster that said they were able to get to it last year as well. So there you go.
Okay.
Perhaps it wasn't that unusual.
Cool. That is neat. Did we have any audio from that?
No.
Oh, okay. I thought we did. That's all
We'll
right.
just have to envision it.
Yes. In your mind's eye.
Yeah. Listen in your mind's ear.
Well, hey, we have some other cool caching achievements to share with you guys. Bad Cop, anything you want to share?
Well, let's start with Dora Moore. She recently went, and I'm incredibly jealous, went on a GeoVentures Earth Cache tour of Iceland
Wow.
with 7 other cachers, and we know one of them.
We do.
Yeah. 2 of us reached our 100th Earth Cache milestone. One got her 200th, and we were all inspired. Most memorable for me was hiking up a volcano that erupted in 1973 and warming my hands on the vent of the rim.
Wow.
It's the Eldfell Earth Cache. It's GC2VVH.
Very cool.
That's very cool.
That is cool. We have more.
Oh, sorry. I was gonna jump in there and ask Wits End if you wanted to share an update from our good friend Three Hams and a Rose.
He is our good friend, Three Hams and a Rose. We had dinner with our good friend, Three Hams and a Rose, after the block party. He says, August has been good. And, well, it has. For them, it was milestone number 2,500 at a virtual in Spokane, 10 icons in a day in Seattle. And just yesterday, he says his boys and he FTF'd a Where I Go in New Westminster. So, congratulations for all those accomplishments. That is a memorable August indeed.
It's very cool. Yeah, and it's not very often that a Where I Go gets published, so kudos on that.
And I'll let you know, I saw his, I believe, Facebook post, the social media post on that. It was 2 hours after it was published that he still got the FTF on it. So
That's impressive.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Way to go. And the last one that I'll share here is from a friend of the show and contributor of facts to the show, Brylang, who achieved a milestone. The Going Ape event was his 3,500th find. So congratulations, Brylang.
Congratulations. That is a milestone.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, that, I think, wraps up that fantastic weekend we had with talking about the block party from last weekend and talking about GCD, Keecheless Crossing, Ape event, and other stuff this weekend. Pretty much wraps that weekend that we spent with the Land Monkeys, and we really appreciate them coming down. And we had just a great time together, as we always do. And thank you for allowing us all to pile in the Land Monkey Mobile once again.
Anytime.
So, let's wrap up this episode. But before we go, gentlemen, assuming after all of this banter and random hoo-ha, assuming someone actually listening wanted to connect with us online, I don't know why. Let's say they did. Where would they go and find everybody? So, Land Monkey, rattle off some addresses, URLs, and other such stuff.
Absolutely. Well, I'll start with the URL. If you want to find out what's going on with the Land Monkeys, and as we mentioned earlier in the show, if you want to find out if you are eligible for a prize, check out landmonkeY.blogspot.ca. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram at LandMonkeyGC. The GC stands for geocaching, just like GC codes. Facebook, we're at Team LandMonkey, and on YouTube, you just search LandMonkey, type in LandMonkey, LANMONKEY on YouTube, and you will find us. And now, even watch for us on Periscope.
Ooh. In fact, you did a little periscoping just before the show started.
Yeah, I did. I did a quick little Periscope to show people what it looks like from Land Monkey Studios when we're getting ready for a show, because that's so terribly exciting.
If the pontiff were to do a periscope, it would be a scary pope.
Wow. Hey, if you want to find me online, Twitter, I'm CachingNW. At Facebook, I'm at CachingNW. Google Plus, you go to google.com/plus CachingNW. What about you, Wits End?
I'm not sure anybody wants to connect with me after all this crazy show, but if they did, it's a Wits End. Facebook.com/WitsEnd, Twitter.com/WitsEnd, geocaching username is WitsEnd, Google.com/+WitsEndUS, phone number 347-WitsEnd, and all that kind of stuff.
That's awesome. And I hope people do reach out to us. I love to hear from people on social media and email and all that kind of stuff about what your caching adventures are and sharing memorable moments, and then we love to share them on the show. So do reach out. And folks, thank you for taking the time to listen to this episode of Caching in the Northwest. And remember, just as we've been discussing, you can be a part of this show. Call 253-693-TFTC. Leave us a comment, ask a question, carry us up a mountain any time of the day or night. And of course, you can always email us at feedback@cachingnw.com. And also, your support helps to keep quality shows coming. And if you like quality shows, please click the PayPal button on the cachingnw.com website. This show, a quality show, is licensed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Copyright 2015 by Chris Umfenauer.
Folks, have a wonderful evening.
That's right. Thanks for listening. 73.
And we are clear of the recording.
Right on. I like IHAM's comment in the Q&A that just came in, which is only funny if you've actually ever watched Phineas and Ferb.
This is periscope, what Phineas and Ferb used to find their platypus.
Yes.
That's funny.
Brylang only needs 5 more to complete his Jasper challenge.
Wow, go Brylang. Go Brylang. Go Brylang. There you go.
Rose,
Yeah, he's going to have to record that and use that as a ringtone.
A ringtone.
Maybe we'll just send that to him.
There you go. It's your birthday.
Go ahead and do it again. We'll get a nice clean recording.
Okay, tell me when you're ready.
Oh, hang on.
Go. Oh, yep.
No. I thought I might be, but I don't know how to use this. Ready?
Go Brylang. Go Brylang. It's your birthday. It's your birthday.
There we go. We got a clean recording.
Nice. There you go. You're welcome.
For a small fee, we'll record any ringtone you want. Just call 69. Oh no.
I'll say that for a
message.
Okay. 3 hams in a row. I think I started this 3 times, one for each one of the hams. He says, "Must I be underwater to view this periscope of which you speak?"
Oh. And 3 hams in a row is trying to get us in trouble. Or at least trying to get Wits End in trouble.
He's also got WitsEnd and AshleyMadison.com locked in as well.
Well, he used to.
I don't understand.
Ashley Madison is the website that got hacked.
What's WitsEnd involved with that?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's just because it's an email address.
Oh, gotcha.
Yes,
I got you. Now
I have that username locked up.
Ashley Madison. Gotcha.
It's a bit of a stretch, but you know.
No, I'm following. Give me some time. I can catch up.
All right.
On a semi-serious note out there for all of you computer users, because of the big Ashley Madison and other such breaches, there are a lot of common phishing emails and techniques going on right now that you might get an email and said, hey, look what so-and-so did over at Ashley Madison, or check out what your significant other did over at Ashley Madison, enticing you to click a link, which you should not be clicking if you don't know who that email came from. So, there you go.
So standard phishing email rules apply.
Yes.
If you don't,
I got an email from a tech security blog this week saying you should warn your users about the latest and greatest crap.
apparently there are.
Have been warned.
Because they probably have forgotten since the last time you warned them.
Yeah, pretty much.
From what I've heard, there are hundreds of companies offering to go clean your reputation online, to remove yourself, have yourself removed from the Ashley Madison database. I'm like, folks, that won't work. It's already
Good
out.
luck with that. So they invented a time machine, did they?
Yeah, that's right.
They travel back in time. It's a TARDIS, so it does time and space. They travel back in time to your house right before you signed up for Ashley Madison and smack you.
And smack you. Yeah.
Don't do that.
You're doing. Oh, I don't know. Yeah, exactly. You don't know. But yeah, this Ashley Madison thing is interesting. Not in the fact that this is where people go to cheat, but the fact that a database of this size has been compromised and published.
Mm-hmm.
It does not bode well for, well, anybody else. So.
No. I saw an article earlier this week. I don't remember which day. Anyways, earlier this week, that was going on about. And I think really a lot of people are just trying to capitalize on that and try and just get their name out there. Of look how much I know. They had created a graph of major U.S. tech companies whose domain names were part of email addresses from the Ashley Madison breach.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I look at stuff like, okay, well, I mean, honestly, it's sure probably some of it, but I mean, if it's just an email address you're using to sign up for something, it doesn't necessarily even mean it's a real email. Like that's actually your email address. So I don't know.
I don't know. There's .mil, .gov addresses in there that. Well, what I'm beginning to question is so. Ashley Madison had been presented with their, with the hackers' requests several times before they said, no, we're not going to do anything. We don't believe you. And then it was posted. Do other companies give in and say, hey, we've got your data, you pay us, we won't make it public?
Maybe.
I don't, has this happened before and we're just hearing about it now because somebody said, no, I don't believe you. We're not going
to. Isn't that illegal? The
whole hack is illegal.
Well, no, not the hack, but to like if you're hacked, don't you by law have to disclose that you've been hacked?
Yes. Well, in the U.S., Ashley Madison's a Canadian company.
Well, that's a little embarrassing.
So I'm not up on Canadian cyber law. If you know, please tell us.
As far as I know, and I used to be up on Canadian cyber law, it's just been a year or so since I've really had my nose in it, but I seem to recall that we do have very similar legislation in Canada that if you've been hacked, you have a certain amount of time by which you have to legally disclose that.
Exactly. And Ashley Madison could not tell they had been hacked. So
interesting.
That's really interesting. Yeah, they did not. They couldn't. They still can't find proof that they've been hacked.
I wonder if they've phoned Splunk since.
Don't know. So there you go. It's an interesting thing. I don't care about this particular site. It's interesting to see what it's going to do for the rest of.
Because a related story I saw this week said that I think it was a federal court, but anyway, there was a ruling came down this week that corporations, like they mentioned Target and companies that recently have had credit card breaches, can now be held liable for the damages caused by not securing their data. So not only is it a black eye in the PR world, but it's can be very damaging, and so yeah.
We got some Q&A here, but I want to say that Ashley Madison has actually had more traffic going to it now than it did before. So it's actually a boon to their
That's a shame.
business. But how long is that business going to be active? So Wet Coaster, who's part of our research committee, says it's run out of Toronto. And Three Hams in a Row says, hilarious stat was revealed today. Of the 30 million male subscribers, 21 million are actively checking their messages. Of the 5 million female subscribers, under 1,500 are active users. So basically, 0% of women are actually using it. And that's the other thing that you look at and you go, what were they hoping to find? Because there's really no women on the site.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's probably, I don't know, just thinking about the way life is, that's probably the same for any of these kinds of websites.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The ratio.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's 30 million to 0.
Yeah, something like that. Well, so hey, Three Hams in a Rows was asking if we would out the ape live on air. I don't think we're going to do that, are we?
No, we're not Ashley Madison hackers.
All right, and Brylang.
You can figure out exactly who the ape is if you go back and listen to some of our older episodes.
Right.
That's true. All the clues are there.
Mm-hmm.
We were using this tone to, talk with or to make fun of. I can say that, he doesn't mind, of a certain cacher. But we played it way too late in the episode. He wouldn't even hear it in this episode. So
there you go.
But you can figure out who that is.
So it's like an episode of Scooby-Doo now. You have to follow the clues.
Scooby-Dooby-Doo. Hey, maybe we should give away a package of Munsies to somebody who.
We'd have got away with it if it wasn't for those meddling kids.
Why are the kids made out of metal?
I don't know. Never did figure that out.
I thought it was middling kids. They weren't very good at anything.
Like Zoink Scoob.
Hey, Bad Cop, you were going to say something about giving something away.
Well, what do you think if we gave a pack of Munsies to the person who can figure out who the ape was?
Ooh.
By going back and listening to old episodes.
There you go.
Throw it out there. Why not? What have we done?
Okay, so I have a question, though. Sorry, what was that?
It doesn't count if the ape himself calls.
That was my question. Is he allowed to enter the contest?
No.
I don't believe Munsey's the ape.
There you go.
Big hairy ape.
Oh, that is too funny. All right. So we have a contest then. Are we going to announce that contest next episode as well, or is that just for people who happen to endure this much of us? Exactly.
If you got through this much of us, you deserve something.
Well, not only do you deserve something, but if you got through this much of us, now you have to work for something.
Oh, there we go.
Man, we are live.
Yeah. That's evil backwards.
Exactly.
That's how we started this episode.
It is.
Yeah, mention GCD or I will end the episode.
Except that I'm in charge this time.
Oh, I can still end it. I still have a stop broadcast button.
Oh, do you? Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah, you guys can both. I can't, but.
Sorry.
I could just hang up and go home.
It has been an hour, so we probably could end the episode any time now.
Probably. Folks,
all right.
Thanks for enduring us.
We love you all equally. You're all our favorites.
Wow. You have kids, don't you?
More than one.
Yeah, I know. That's how come I know. Good night, folks.